welcome to Gaga Knits. This is episode 40 and also lockdown week 4. Today is Friday the 17th of April and it's Matthew, my son-in-law's birthday, so happy birthday Matthew. Sorry I can't be with you today, but we'll all be together soon. We've had several birthdays in April, and also my friend had a little baby girl this week, and as we are only shopping in Lidl's and they don't do birthday cards or any kind of cards or anything, I've had to use my imagination and make cards for everybody. Now I've roped Martin in to help me because, as I told you last time, he's a very good artist. So I'm going to show you what we've been making for people's birthdays and the gifts and cards. And also I'm going to discuss my sewing plans the plan I made in January. Originally was 12 projects, but then I went down to 11. But now I've added some anyway, so it was just a start to get those few things done. I'm going to show my progress on my cross stitch and also a new crochet project. Let's start with cards and gifts. So firstly, my friend from work was 65 and I couldn't get a card for her, so I made one, and I used this stencil and the sparkle medium. I don't know if anyone's seen this. It's sort of a glitter paste and you smear it on to the, you can't see it's glittery there. You smear it onto the stencil that's on top of the card. We'll just put the lid back on because I don't want it to dry out. So you smear it over the top of this on the card and you scrape it off with this spatula and it makes a really pretty card. So I made a card for her with that, and I made her the key ring from the Spring Craft Pod box. I subscribed to that for a year, so that's my third one, and it's actually the first project from there I've actually finished. I did start the embroidery from the autumn one and I didn't get very far, and so this was the first project I finished. So I just made her a little key ring and popped that in the post with her card. Then it was my friend had her little girl, so I looked on Pinterest for different cards and I was going to try and make one, and I asked Martin whether he could copy a card that I saw on there, and so he did, and he made a very nice card for her. So we sent her that with the crocheted car seat blanket that I made. And then it's Matthew's birthday, which is today. Now he is a mad fan for mint sauce. He has mint sauce on all his cooked dinners, regardless of what meat is involved. So I thought it would be funny if we drew a picture of a piece of mint, some mint leaves, and Martin went out into the garden and did a still life picture of the mint that we've got growing there, and then inside the card we said that we think Matthew's mint, because that means we think he's brilliant, because we do. So we sent him that as a joke, and I couldn't send him a present, and we usually get presents. I get presents for the children and grandchildren, so instead I made a voucher. And on the voucher it said that he was entitled to one handmade object, one meal of his choice, and babysitting service from me. So he's going to keep that voucher until we're all together again and use that. You've just got to think of different things, haven't you? Because you can't do the normal things. Things aren't normal, so just got to think outside the box. And last but not least, on Sunday, it is going to be my stepmom Lorraine's birthday. Now Lorraine, if you're watching this and you haven't had your card yet, please leave the room and Dad can tell you when you can come back in. This card that Martin has made is my favourite of all of them. It is, we used, let's see, where was it? We used this card as a base, So it's a new home card and it's by Alex Clark. I love her artistic work. And my stepmom has recently acquired a shed. My dad has got about three sheds or four in the garden? And he's also got in the garage, it's a bit of a long-standing family joke, he's had a Jensen car in there for more than 20 years. It's a work in progress and he's never finished it, but he's always tinkering with it. And this year he decided he was going to sell it. So he sold it as an ongoing project to a lovely man in Germany. Now I'm saying he's a lovely man because he has had the car collected and taken it to Germany, and he has promised Dad that when he finishes it, that Dad and Lorraine are invited over to Germany to see him and to have a little drive in the car. So I think that's really nice of him. So anyway, he sold that car, which means the garage is free, and he's moved some things out of the shed, and now Lorraine has her own little shed, which is her gym, and he's got a running machine in there, an exercise bike, he's set up a TV, a radio, a fan. So that's her little shed. So I wanted the card to reflect that, and we also make fun of her a little bit because she likes to have a little drink and she always denies it, and I always tease her about it. So we've put a little bucket outside the shed with some empty wine bottles in, so we'll see if she notices that on her card or not. Right, Lorraine can come back in the room now. So that's all the card making we've been doing, and actually Martin's been quite enjoying it, and he said he thinks he might start making cards for people now because it's much more personal if you can think about something they like, or something they enjoy doing, or something funny that's happened to them, and put that on a card. It makes it much more personal. Moving on to my sewing plans for 2020. I had, like I say, 12 projects, but I took one off. So now I've got 11. And these were, I've written a list. So to begin with, I had 4 clothing items. It was an A-line skirt, a full skirt, a maxi dress, and a fit and flare dress. I haven't done the A-line skirt yet, but I have started on the full skirt. And I have started making the Hollyburn skirt by Sewaholic, and I am following the tutorials that Katie from Inside Number 23 has done on her, I think it was 3 years ago, on her podcast. And I am going very slowly and carefully because I have pockets. I've never done pockets before, and I'm being really careful to stitch everything neatly. And inside I've overlocked all the seams, and as you can see, I am waiting for a zip. I didn't have the right size zip, and I ordered one online and it's taking forever, so I can't get any further than I am. All I've got to do is insert the zip, and then I can fold the waistband over to the right length and take up the skirt, and then I shall be giving you a twirl. I was hoping to have finished it so that I could be wearing it today, but I am still waiting for the zip. I am wearing this. I made this quite a long time ago, and it's too big, but I'm wearing it because of a project that I'm going to show you a bit later on, so it will explain itself then. My second clothing project is the Perfect Dress by Rosary Apparel. Rosary Apparel. There we are, said it. I stumble over the word apparel. And this is Janelle, who's got a very nice podcast, and she's a very clever young lady. She designs her own dresses, and I think she's got some on her site now that you can actually buy, but this is a free download. It's called The Perfect Dress, and she does a sew along with it. So I've downloaded the pattern, I've taped it together, cut it out, and cut out all the fabric pieces, and I'm going to get on with that. I haven't been able to do any or much sewing on my sewing machine this week because Josh has been working nights, so he doesn't get up until about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and his bedroom is next to my sewing room, so I thought it would wake him up if my overlocker was thundering along or anything like that. So I've cut things out and prepped them, but I haven't done any sewing as yet. He did his last nights last night, and now he's got 8 days off, so I shall hopefully have that dress finished and another project that I'm going to talk about later on too. There was a miscellaneous project, which was a handbag that is a kit that came with the Kath Kitson book, and I've done that, and I showed that in a previous episode, but I'll put a picture in, and I'm going to try and link some of my previous videos up here if I can, just in case you're interested to go back and have a look at those. So I've done the bag. Children's clothes. I have made Jack a pair of leggings from a Petite Pirates pattern, and I accidentally cut out 2 pairs, so I have made an extra pair of those, and that's done. Household items. There was a dining room table runner, which is my English paper piecing, and I have videoed a little bit of how far I got with that earlier on in the week, so I shall insert that here. I finished the top a little while ago, but I wasn't sure how to put the backing on and how to do the binding around the edge of the hexagons. So I jumped onto YouTube and had a little look as to different ways of doing it, and some of them suggest to put the hexagons on a piece of fabric and then sew around here so it's a square, but I didn't want to do that. And another one suggested cutting them all along here to make this square. I didn't fancy that either. I wanted to keep this shape. So it would appear what you have to do is make more hexes, and you then make hexes to go all around these here, so all the way around the outside like a frame, and then you stitch them to this area. Oh, can't see. Stitch them here and then fold them under so that you've got a sort of border all around the edge. They did suggest using the same fabrics as you've got on the front, but I haven't got any of that left, so I've just used some cotton fabric that is a similar sort of colour. Not that it matters because it's underneath and it's going to be on a tabletop. So I have cut out some interfacing. It's quite a thick piece, and it's an iron-on one. And it's just leftovers, it's strips, because I thought in keeping with this project, which is all scrappy things, because the fabric hexagons are the leftovers from my puffy. And then I've also cut out a piece of old curtain, which will be the lining underneath. So I've got all my pieces ready. Oh, and all the scraps from there I've put in this tin with my other scraps, and they are going to go in the bag in my puffy because I'm keeping all scraps, so there's absolutely no waste from this at all. So I'm going to have to unpin this and take out some of the paper pieces, the middle ones, because I need them to make these, and that's my progress so far. I cannot tell you how many hours so far I have spent on this project, but I absolutely love it. I just stitch away on it and I'm enjoying myself immensely, and it will get finished eventually, but I am enjoying it hugely, and I like to sit in the morning and stitch away on it, and it's just one of those slow burner projects that it'll be finished when it's finished, and there's no rush, no pressure. I'm just enjoying it. And in the household items section there was also a coffee table runner, which I have now put up on here because Martin kept putting his cup on it, which was annoying me because it took me ages to make. So I'll put a picture in, but I have got it here now instead of on the coffee table. I had 2 projects planned for my craft room, which was a sewing machine and an overlock cover, and I haven't done those yet, but I will try and get onto those soon. And I had a Christmas item, which was a cushion cover for Jodie and Matthew, and I have done the front, but I have not done the back yet or put a zip in. So I mean, that's nearly finished. I need to really try and get that one done too. And they are all my projects that were on my list, so I'm not doing too badly. Now, 2 projects that I have that are not on my list are, I made a pair of shorts for Harry out of this material, which is, it's got little sailboats on it, which is why I'm wearing it. I told you I'd explain why. Jodie said she was having difficulty getting him shorts and things for the summer while we're on lockdown, so I thought I'd have a quick go at making him some, and I had to send them off to him in the week, so I filmed a little bit of to show you them before I sent them away, so I'll put that in here. I have made Harry a pair of shorts. Here they are. It's cotton fabric with little sailboats on. It was some leftovers from a boxy top I made myself a while ago, and I put a little label in. Harry helped me design these years ago and I never put them on anything. It's a really simple pattern, and the pattern is Butterick B6126, and I made these little shorts here, meant to be pyjamas. The only trouble is I bought this pattern a while ago because the sizing is 2 all the way through to 8 there, but unfortunately those first sizes are in one pack, which I haven't got, and this is the pack that I've got, 6, 7 and 8. So I've had it well because Harry's only 6 now and he's quite small. So I made the smallest size, and the waist for the smallest size is 22, and Harry's got a 20-inch waist, so I just shortened the elastic a little bit, so I'm hoping they'll fit him. Yay! And I am glad to say that they fit and he loves them, so that's good. I will make him some more of those in time when I get some fabric. But I have got another project planned for him, but I'm waiting for the fabric to arrive on that. And I'm also making Jack a baby romper from Made by Me patterns, and I have cut out all the fabric for that, and like I say, I was just waiting for Josh to finish nights and I can sew that one up now. I'm going to do that one all on my overlocker because I have already practiced that on the first size, the 0 to 3 month size, and I am making Jack the 18 to 24 month size so that he's got plenty of growing room in it. So I'm looking forward to sewing that one up this week too. And on to cross stitch. I am working on this project, and it is the Peter's Hug cross stitch from Aldi's, and I really like this project because it only has whole cross stitches. There's no halves or quarter stitches, so I'm enjoying it because of that. It is a bit of a struggle because there's a lot of blue on a blue Ada background, but I think it's going to look really nice when it's finished. But you can see the mum and Peter appearing quite clearly there. It did come with a plastic hoop, and as you can see I have had it on the hoop, but I prefer to work sort of scrunching it up rather than through the hoop. I was finding it a bit difficult with the hoop, so I've taken it off the hoop and I'm just cross stitching away on that. I'm looking forward to that being finished. I shouldn't have too much longer on it. I've nearly finished both of them, so I've just got to do the sort of little circle around them with the robin and the flowers. So that'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to finishing that. I'm very near completion on lots of things. And a new project I've started in crochet, I discussed or showed you last time, is Austin the Rhino that Harry has requested. And Harry, if you're listening, Austin the Rhino is the name of the rhino in the book by, the Edwards Menagerie book. But your rhino can't be called Austin. Yours has to have its own name. So try and think of a name for your rhino, because it won't be long and I'll have finished him. So I've done his body, which looks a bit like a pear. I've stuffed it slightly, and you've got to squidge it because they're meant to be little slouchy, cuddly animals. So I'm going to have to play around with that for a little bit. And I've also started on his head. Now, a friend of mine showed me how to put a thread of a different colour in your work. And every time you come to the end of the round, thread or drop the yarn over your working yarn, and as you go around you'll always know where you are. So you don't need stitch markers or anything, because you can just flip this backwards and forwards, and it's much quicker and less fiddly than using stitch markers. And these are the yarns I am using to make our version of Austin, and I got those from Angela at Yarn and Yarns. And they are really nice to work with, because some yarns when crocheting can be quite splitty, but this is nice. I think it must be what you'd call a high twist maybe, and it's good because it doesn't get caught in the hook. Now, when I was making this to begin with, you need a 3mm crochet hook, and I was using this one, and as you can see it's quite thin. And when I was holding it, I was getting cramp in my hand, sort of like a burny, tingly sensation here. So I couldn't do many rounds and I'd have to stop. So I mentioned this to Martin, and I said, would he be able to make me a polymer clay handle for a crochet hook to make it thicker, so I'm not holding such a thin hook, because I think that's trying to grip onto that was what was making me have cramp. And he made me one, so here it is. I really love my little crochet hook, and I chose the colours, and I pressed my thumb in here before we put the polymer clay in the oven to set, and it's very ergonomic. It's lovely. I'm working away with it, and these are the really cheap hooks that you get when you first start crocheting, but I have to say I like that hook better than this hook, and this one's a cheap one as well, but I am so happy with this. And the only trouble is now that I will probably want him to do this to all of my crochet hooks, but I haven't told him that yet. So this means that I can work away on the Rhino for a lot longer than I could before I had the polymer clay thick handle. So I'm very pleased with that. So he's been working quite hard really, because I have been thinking up all these birthday cards for him to make, and obviously this. But he is off school. He's a lecturer in a college, and although he's working from home, it's Easter break, so might as well give him something to do. Right, so that's all my projects at the moment. I have done a little bit of knitting, but I seem to be off my knitting at the moment, and I've just worked a little bit on a pair of socks, but there's not enough progress really to show you. So I thought at the end of this video I would put some pictures that we went for a walk when we went over to the post office again, and on the way through the streets before we get to the nature part of the walk, I was noticing all the little rainbows that children have put in their windows. So I took a couple of photos of them to put on the end of here, and it was very brave of me, because some people might have thought I was a bit of a peeping Tom, because I was stood outside their windows with my phone taking photos for you, so you could see the little rainbows that the children have been making. So I should put that on the end, and take care, stay safe. I know it's a very hard time at the moment. I didn't really want to say much about it because there's no point. We're all in the same boat, and we all need to keep going and do what the government says so that we can be out of lockdown as soon as we can and back to normal, hopefully soon. And I shall speak to you all again soon. If you like the video, please subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel that you can, because I love receiving the comments and I always reply. So take care until I see you again soon. Bye for now.